Alright everybody, looks like we are live here. Let me get all these things popped out. There we go. Okay. So I had a little bit of audio issue on the Facebook one, but I'm going to think that we got this correct and fixed. So let me know if you guys can hear me or can't hear me, or if there are any kind of problems. It would be great if I can get a thumbs up. Let me I'm going to see if people can hear me over here and then get that tested out. So I'm going to assume everything is all right, and I'll keep kind of looking at this. Now, where I was looking at the overall market here, and so far what I'm seeing is all right, are we up and running? If I can get somebody to let me know if we're good, because my computer just totally restarted on me right in the middle of speaking. So let me get a few things working. Okay, thank you. Let me get you guys back up and running. Okay, good to go. So we'll pick up where we left off. Okay, and then we'll get into it. Let's go back to the SPY. Yeah, I think we're all good. Okay. It's one of those days, isn't it? Market's falling apart, my computer's falling apart, our pets are falling off. Yeah, one of those days. Okay. So where we are, and where I was going with this, is well, we're still trending down, obviously. You know, we're all looking for a bounce. The Fed has been putting in a lot of money. Interest rates are effectively zero. There's a lot of money going into this, so we do need to be worried about a short squeeze. The put-call ratio, let me show you that. The put-call ratio is off the charts. I mean, it is way up there, and just has not given up yet, which is unbelievable. And we're in some very, very interesting times right now. And the one thing I am, you know, this can still persist, and what we're trying to figure out is this a bear flag, or is this actually going to be a level where price kind of bounces for a little bit? Now, the case for it bouncing is obviously we have a lot of liquidity, and a lot of people are trying to put money into this and trying to make this bounce. But I don't see it yet. I am seeing some divergence here on the 15-minute compared to price down and down. So there's that. And the Moxie indicator here on the hourly chart is starting to level out, but that in no means absolutely does not mean that there's going to be a good long swing trade entry on the S&P. It's going to be a bounce. That's really all I'm looking at. Because if price moves up like this, that's still going to be going against a downtrending hourly 50, and you don't want to trade something that's going perpendicular to a moving average, just like how price back here did that as well. You see that's perpendicular. You don't want to trade perpendicular, you want to trade parallel like that. So that being said, and then also the rules for me, the Moxie indicator is when price bounces up like that, price should not be over the 50 if the Moxie indicator is below zero. And you can see that it is very, very, very far below zero. So you know, any kind of bounce, I think at some point will be shortable, and we need to be, we need to look out for that. Now, we have to see what kind of bounce this is, because if this is a good constructive bounce, then maybe it'll do something like that. Maybe it'll go deeper and do something like that. Or worst case scenario is it goes up like this, does that, and then more down. We just don't know, and we're going to have to take it day by day. The other situation is we have a very wide 8 and 21 here. So as soon as, if price bounces, it just can't kind of keep going like that, because we just have way too much distance between those two moving averages. The other situation that could be happening, and this would be strange but definitely possible, is price just wants to flag sideways into the moving average like this, like that, and continue trending down. I'll show you a ticker that has been doing that, and I'll show you that one. Part of the reason why, we know this is oversold. We are still well outside of the third ATR on the daily chart. We've been basically bumping up against the third ATR on the hourly chart. I mean, we've been seeing limit down days. We just know that this is oversold, but it can continue to be that way. Now, the same thing is true when I talk about the upside. As to the downside, notice that price has not touched the hourly 50 at all since back here. that really just means that there's a lot of momentum to the downside, just like if this were momentum to the upside. At some point, it's going to want to come back to that. The question is, in what fashion is it going to do it? Is it going to do it at a bounce? Is it going to do a bounce here and then over? Is it going to just go sideways until they both meet? We don't know. And we have to kind of keep using our lower time frames and our lower indicators to get that figured out. This is a potential trampoline move here on the 15-minute, but the 15 minutes only as strong as the 15-minute. It's not the strongest time frame, and we are still underneath these moving averages. So we need to be very careful about that. Let me show you DAL only in the form of this as being an example as how oversold can continue to be oversold, and how price came down here, and you can see it just stayed underneath the hourly 50, even with the Moxie indicator kind of trending up at the time. All it wanted to do was kind of flag sideways into that moving average and then continue to drop. So that's what I'm saying. There's always the possibility that that can happen with the market, but we just don't know. So we need to be very, very careful about this. One thing that I have been seeing is, for the long side, is a theme about mail order, which kind of makes sense, right? We think about stuff that has been going up, and we're thinking, well, what's going on right now in our environment? Basically, we're doing quarantine. People aren't going out. Fortunately, we do have a very robust shipping industry, and we already have the internet, and we have a lot of good things that are already online. And so we look at something like that. Chewy has been going pretty crazy. Hard for me to just kind of buy it right here, although it could keep going. It's just really hard to tell what's happening. DBX, I was kind of thinking about this as a possibility. I'm looking at this as maybe a trampoline move. Price should not be below the 50 if the Moxie indicator is above 0. Oh, and that kind of reminds me, let's see if I can find the right one. Okay, yeah. So if you guys aren't familiar with me and familiar with my teaching and kind of my lingo and my glossary that I use, if you guys want to learn more about me, go over to simplertrading.com/Moxie. This is where you can sign up for my mastery program, which is my alert service. We do live trading once. Actually, let's do that. How about that? We do live trading once a month. It's basically the first Tuesday of every month. And then I do push alerts. So I've been telling people everything that I've been seeing and how stuff is moving and what we need to look for and all this kind of stuff. So that's been really helpful in times like this. And then I keep the chat box open so all my subscribers can talk to each other, and then I can talk to them and they can talk to me, and it's been very helpful in a situation like this. And in fact, let me tell you one thing. Let me flip over to TLT, because this reminds me that I had one subscriber just the other day. It must have been, was it yesterday? No, it must have been, today's Wednesday, so it must have been Monday, that he was asking me about TLT, and I said he had a put call, like a put credit spread, something like that. So he was selling something down here, and the fact that price then bounced, he was making money. And he said, what's my view, what's my take on TLT? Is it going to keep going up? Because then he would continue to make more money. And I said, well, based on my rules and what I've seen, you can see right here that price is running right into the underside of the hourly 50, and the Moxie indicator is below 0. I said, in my world, that's a short. And I said, I would not be long. And I said, I would really take your money because I think you've made what you're going to make. And I just don't see this thing working out. And you can see price also ran into the underside of the 15-minute 200, and the Moxie indicator was not strong there either. So it was good that he was able to reach out to me. And as being part of my service, he was able to ask me this question for a trade that I wasn't trading, but it was something that he took, because we got some really, I got the whole gamut of people in here. We got new people, we've got experienced people, people who have their day jobs and they look for me to kind of do the research for them and take, bring a trade to them, and then they'll go take their own kind of trade around it. So, it was good that he was able to ask me this question, and I hope he took my advice, because, at this point you'd be negative. So TLT, no trade here. I don't see anything here yet either. Even if we look at GDX, gold miners, they haven't done well. They've really, really run over. They got oversold, bounced back, but according to my rules, this is probably a short. Price running right into a downtrending hourly 50 and the Moxie indicator below 0. That's usually a short. The question is, do we want to continue shorting something like this? That's a tough thing to say because we just don't know where the market's going to go. But I would, based on my rules, yeah, it says it's a short. Let me look at actual GLD. Thanks, Bree. Yeah, I'm actually working on a presentation on like another class and presentation, and a lot of it that I'm going over is about discipline. And the whole fact about when we talk about trading in the stock market, we're attracted to this because of the freedom, right? The total free expression about this. And when I started doing this, I was like, I just want to trade. I just want to make money. Want to throw money out there and have it come back to me bigger. And I just kept losing money over and over and over. And I finally built some rules for myself. And then I realized that every time I made a bad trade, it's because I didn't follow my rules. I didn't follow my checklist. And so I just had to learn that it's got to be the discipline to stick to the thing that you found that works. Your thing is different than my thing, whatever, but we have a way that we see the market and how to make trades. And if we don't stick to our own rules, we continue to lose money. And I've been there, I've done that. I still sometimes do that. But I'm much better about it. And so yeah, the more I stick to my rules, the more money I make, and I'd rather make money, so I will stick to my rules and I'll just be disciplined. But yeah, thanks. That's something that we all need to be cognizant about. Here's another one, double top with gold itself. Negative divergence right there. This was mostly clear on the 15-minute. You can see that price kept going up like that, and then you can see the Moxie indicator kept going down like that, and then ultimately right here, price got underneath the 15-minute 50, and it just sailed on down after that. So literally everything is being sold. Yeah, Jamie, let me get to that in a little bit. It's probably taking off on me, isn't it? Yeah, not too bad. It's hanging in there. I'm kind of looking at ZM also. But let me circle back to some of the things that are working. So Docu, trying to work. I thought Docu might be a reason. We're talking about, we got to think about, okay, what's going on here? Deliveries, online stuff, what is working, where are people trying to go to put some safe money? Ultimately, the first thing that started was price should not be over the 50 if the indicator is below 0. That's what I call an inverse trampoline move. And you can see price up and indicator down. So that was the negative divergence, and then this thing finally failed and then failed. So far, we're trying to see if there's maybe a bounce, possibly, but I don't see anything yet. Let me show you G-O. This is grocery outlet, so I think it's like grocery outlet store or grocery delivery. I probably should actually look into this, but I was just looking through some names to see what's up. So G-O is one of them. Grub, I thought Grub might be something. It's not holding up yet. In fact, you could see that it just had a flag into resistance, went right into a downtrending hourly 50. The Moxie indicator is still below 0. So something like that is a good short entry. And then mRNA, they're in biotech. There's a possibility. But for me, I prefer to buy when price bounces off of the, I didn't mean to circle the green thing, but bounces off of the hourly 50. We'll see. These are very, very tricky times right now. Net, it was one of the few that actually held up for a little while the market was going down, basically right in here, but it ultimately couldn't handle it either. And again, this might actually be a short. Price should not be over the 50 if the Moxie indicator is below 0, but price shouldn't be below the 50 if the Moxie indicator is above 0. So see how I have a regular trampoline move here and I had an inverse trampoline move here. So I'm kind of stuck between directions right here. For now, I would say the short side for net, because the 8 is still below the 21, but what could happen is maybe it's going to come down, retest the lows, and then bounce from there. We don't know. Like, we're going to have to, these are going to be very quick, short duration trades, and we just don't really know. And we're going to have to keep things very close to the chest. Pets, I traded this one short, so did my subscribers. So I sent this one out. We actually made like 9% in one day, so that was pretty nice. Since then, I'm trying to think: is PetMed, a mail order pet medication delivery service, are they going to be able to kind of withstand some of the downdraft? Maybe, but it's something to kind of keep on our list and think about it. KR, Kroger, they had some chaos, but ultimately they're going up. So maybe grocery stores, something we can kind of look at. But yeah, Jamie, let me show you like T-Doc. Ultimately, I think T-Doc is a short, despite them, Teledoc and being kind of something relevant right now. They have bounced off of the daily 50. They haven't really bounced off the hourly 200. They've kind of mushed through that and then kind of bounced. So I'm looking at this as being kind of weak. The 8 and 21, I see that is starting to break down. But shorts are tough. Shorts are really difficult to trade because they don't go down easily, especially when they keep hitting these tree branches, something like that. But ultimately, price should not be over the 50 if the Moxie indicator is below 0. So I'm looking at that as at some point, this thing should continue to roll over. We're going to have to see. It takes some time. And if we look here on the 15-minute, price has not engaged with the 15-minute 50 yet. So I'm going to give it a little bit more time to see what kind of happens with that. Yeah, I know, Jamie. That's definitely a thing, but we don't know if that's really going to cause markets to hold up. I don't know, because just because somebody uses something doesn't mean it has to go up. Even though that's why Dropbox and DocuSign and maybe even Domino's Pizza, maybe they're not going up. So I think we're just in unique times. Indicators may not exactly work. Price movement and where people are putting their money may not make sense, and so everything kind of goes out the windows. Yeah, earnings should be strong, but they don't have earnings for a little while, so we don't have those to work with for now. Maybe even see Peloton might be a short at some point, mostly because it's coming right back up here and it's kind of running right into an underside of a downtrending hourly 200, which is the same thing it did before. That's a possibility. Now, I know the indicator's above 0, but it has not touched the hourly 50, and the 8 is still below the 21. So this might be a quick short for Peloton, PTON. Who knows right now, really? Who knows? Let's see, Showtime. You're looking at AMC. I can't count on this one either. I'm hearing movie theaters are closing down, just like restaurants are closing down. Short the bounce. Oh, yeah, short the bounce. I don't see a bounce yet. For me, it's still pretty oversold. I don't see a bounce yet. I mean, it is running into the 15-minute 50. I would prefer something a little bit more solid. I'd prefer maybe if it ran into the hourly 50. That would make me feel better for a shorting of a bounce. But I wouldn't short it here. It doesn't look appetizing to me, and there's still, price is really, really oversold. So Showtime, I'd be cautious about this one. Most things I would be expecting to bounce, but that doesn't mean they have to. Yeah, just not really seeing anything right there yet either. Kind of looking around at some other ones. Lake, they make masks, and of course, when something like this they spike, but they don't really hold it. And right now, price should not be over the 50 if the indicator's below 0, but it's coming up to kind of fix that. This one looks kind of in a funky position, so I can't really say too much about this one either. If it can hold the hourly 50, great. If it can continue to stay over the 15-minute 50, great. But it doesn't look super great. So yeah, it's kind of tough to figure out where there are opportunities right now, and a lot of things might be getting pushed to where they are manipulated a little bit. So things are acting funny right now. Here's a very clear short. So Jamie, to your point with Teledoc and ZM, these are the kind of shorts that I was looking at. Price should not be over the 50 if the indicator is below 0, right there. And then you can see once that happened, price did in fact start to stay underneath the 50 and then cross through the 200, and then it was just all the way down. There was like a brief little time here at the daily 50, and then it continued to go down. This is really what I'm looking at for ZM. If ZM can roll over at some point, I know it's giving us a little trouble right now, but I see that with ZM there's big distance between price and the daily 50, so I think that's going to do what it's going to do. We're just dealing with some bouncing off right there. So your Fibonacci levels and my inverse trampoline move are fighting each other right now with ZM. So that was a pretty good bet to take. We're going to have to see who gets it right. Let's see. UNG, funny enough, I saw... Oop, well, that didn't happen anymore. I was looking at UNG bouncing. It was bouncing the last couple days. And I was looking at this like, is this going to be long? Do we trust it? I don't know if we trust it. And ultimately, it looks like price continued to run into the downside of the underside of the downtrending daily 50, and the Moxie indicator is still below 0. So, yep, that one rolled over. Yeah, exactly. I agree with you, Jamie. When people hit the eject button and they want to get out, support levels do not matter. Moving averages do not matter. Fib levels don't matter. It just doesn't matter. Things will continue to roll over. Let's see. ZS is on my list as a potential short. Potential. I don't know. Also, maybe the short side is getting a little sketchy at this point. It's hard to say, because even if we were to say short here, as price is coming into this resistance, and price is coming into the 21 right there, you know, it could come down here and then go. So that would be a very quick, you know, there may not be enough meat on the bone on that one to really short something. Or, you know, it could keep going like that. We don't know. And this is the tough thing that we have to be looking at. Because what I see on this one is more like price down, indicator up. Yeah, it's a little tough. Alright, so for those of you who keep kind of coming in and arriving, if you want to be checking out more about the watch list, this is my watch list. 20 stocks for 2020. Obviously, I do have to kind of laugh at it because pretty much everything has gotten blown out of the water in the last few weeks. So when I built this, I was trying to make stocks that I think would really do well in general. You know, already in uptrends, had other reasons for going up. Maybe all these are at really, really good discount levels at this point. We do need to make sure that we don't want to buy or catch a falling knife. So if you do look at this watch list, make sure we actually, you know, get them back into uptrends at some point. And also, I think I might just make a new watch list in the next couple weeks once the market settles down and we can actually see some clarity, because everything has changed. Everything has changed. And if you guys want to actually learn more about me and what I do, come over here at Moxie Trader Mastery, so simplertrading.com/Moxie. This is where you can come over. It's my alert service. I got people in the chat room right now talking to me, and you know, we're out there, we're trading, we're making money. You know, a lot of us are in cash with this market, but otherwise we are making money out there. So come check me out. This is where you come out here and you can, we get live trading once a month. So the next one is going to be the first Tuesday of April. And then we do push alerts. And this is where I tell people the trades I'm taking, how the market's doing, what's going on. They stay informed. And then I do keep the chat room open so everybody can go in there and talk to me. And actually, that's how some people tell me what they're doing, what they're looking at. And I've taken a couple trades from subscribers. So I do appreciate the extra eyes that are out there helping us in a market, especially like this. Alright everyone, well that's going to be my time. Hopefully next week we're going to do a dual broadcast, so we're going to get YouTube and Facebook broadcasting at the same time, so we'll get everything consolidated in one good time. Alright everyone, so thanks again, and we will talk to you next week. Good luck out there.